Bonita Granville stars as the girl detective herself, Nancy Drew, in Warner Brothers' 1938 release, Nancy Drew Detective, directed by William Clemens. The film opens with Nancy and a number of her friends at the local college, where Miss Mary Eldridge, an old friend of Nancy's grandmother, who also happens to be a millionaire, is announcing she's going to give a sizable donation to Nancy's school, which excites everyone greatly. Unfortunately, a time later, when the date is set for Miss Eldridge to give her donation to the school, her business manager shows up in her place and announces that she has taken a sudden leave of absence without explanation, and therefore her donation is left up in the air, as it were, until she can be found. Nancy becomes rather suspicious while everybody else passes this sudden event off as a millionaires who is simply eccentric and decided to ignore the donation or renege on it, as it were, and simply leave. Nancy's suspicions just keep nagging at her, and as she's driving home later on, she witnesses the kidnapping of a Dr. Spires, a family friend, I'm assuming, from the way he is treated by Nancy and her father. And she gives chase, but unfortunately is not able to catch Dr. Spires and his kidnappers due to a flat tire. So now we have a missing person, a kidnapping. We also have passwords, carrier pigeons with mysterious messages, and an overconfident police captain who, despite his shortcomings, just may solve the case before Nancy. This is a solid B movie. It's a fun B movie mystery picture. It's got lots of comedy in it. The cast is solid. Everything about the film I thought was very well done. I remember reading a number of the Nancy Drew books back when I was a little kid. Those and the Hardy Boys were among my favorites to read. The movie here does take a number of liberties. Most of Nancy's friends really aren't mentioned in the film. You can kind of imagine that some of the college girls with Nancy are her friends, but I don't recall hearing their names mentioned, so they don't really have a spot in the film. Ted Nickerson, played by Frankie Thomas, is Nancy's chum, sidekick, and love interest all rolled into one here in the film. The character of Ted Nickerson was actually called Ned Nickerson in the books. The movie, I think, updated his name to keep everything more modern for that time period of 1938, which is, by today's standards, a little bit humorous, but such as it is, it works. Frank Orth plays Captain Tweedy, the overconfident police captain who, despite all of his ridiculous shortcomings, does pose a threat to Nancy's investigation of where Miss Eldridge ran off to. And John Little, or Littell, plays Carson Drew. Nancy's father. Carson also is sort of like another sidekick to Nancy. He's involved in the case on and off as well. The relationship between Nancy and Ted gives the element of a screwball comedy, sort of a screwball comedy for a younger audience, for young folks. It's a very clean movie. If you're a parent, if you have kids who enjoy Nancy Drew or just mysteries in general, I'm going to give this a solid thumbs up and a recommend. This is a great movie to start with, especially if your child or children have never seen Nancy Drew on television or the big screen. There is plenty of mystery here, although I think there are a few cases where the mystery could have been extended out a bit, and a few of the clues for the audience are somewhat. The audience is given a little bit more information than the characters, so the characters in the film are solving the case, but the audience, at a particular point in time, can kind of see where it's going. But it's still a lot of fun to watch. This is the first of 4 Nancy Drew films that came out from Warner Brothers in the late 1930s. This was going to be a sort of like a franchise, I believe. And the first one here is solid. I recommend it. It may not be quite like the books, but at the very least, it was filmed in 1938. I think the first Nancy Drew book came out in 1930. So it was filmed and does have the elements, the way people spoke, the uh, the genuineness of the time period in which Nancy Drew was created is still present in this film. It's not like somebody's making a retro film that's supposed to take place in the 30s. It does indeed take place in the 30s, and that in itself adds a little bit of genuineness to Nancy Drew as a character from those days. And I think that in and of itself makes the movie worth watching. So I'm definitely going to recommend it. I'll give it a 3 out of 5 star rating. There were a few things about it that could have been better, but it's a solid film nonetheless. So check it out. Please leave me a like, comment down below. Let me know what your favorite Nancy Drew version was. Was it the Nancy Drew from the original books, from the updated books? She seems to appear in a new movie every 10 years or so, and I think there's another movie coming out this month, as a matter of fact, if it's not already out already by the time this gets uploaded. She's been on television a number of times, in movies, even in video games. Let me know what your favorite version was and why down in the comments, and I'd be interested to hear why. I think my favorite version had to have been the original one from the books, personally. This version in the movie is a close second. Anyways, I'm Andrew Olson. Thank you for watching another classic cinema review. I'll be back with more classic cinema reviews and other videos of various types in the near future. And until then, what am I doing? I can't leave without saying thank you to Jerry from drmacro.com. Jerry again provided me with all of the great scans of the movie posters and photographs that you've seen in this video from Nancy Drew Detective. Lots of great stuff on his website. Lots of great high-resolution scans of much movie memorabilia. And I greatly appreciate his contribution to my videos. Thank you, Jerry, very much once again. And I thank all of you for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time.